You prayed, you waited, and still nothing. You've been believing for a breakthrough, but it feels like God's taking his time. Let me tell you something. God's timing is perfect, even when it feels delayed. See, we get frustrated because we expect things to happen when we want them to. But God doesn't work on our schedule. He moves according to his divine plan. And when he moves, it's always right on time. Think about it. If God gave you everything you asked for exactly when you wanted it, would you have been ready for it? See, sometimes the delay is not a denial, it's preparation. You're not being ignored, you're being positioned. That job you didn't get, that relationship that didn't work out, that door that didn't open, what if those things weren't rejections, but redirections? God knew that wasn't the best for you. He knew something greater was coming. When you trust his timing, you stop panicking, you stop doubting, and you start believing that he's working behind the scenes. Some of you are in a waiting season right now, and you're wondering, God, when? How much longer? But let me remind you of something. When it's your time, no person, no situation, no setback, nothing can stop what God has for you. He will open doors that no man can shut. He will take what looked like a loss and turn it into the biggest win of your life. See, when God shows up, he doesn't just meet expectations, he exceeds them. You may have thought you were just getting a blessing, but he's about to blow your mind. What he has for you is bigger than what you imagined. So instead of asking, why is it taking so long? Start saying, God, I trust you. I know you're working, I know you're preparing me, and I know my breakthrough is on the way. And when it comes, because it will come, don't forget that waiting wasn't wasted. It was building you, stretching you, strengthening you. So don't rush the process. Don't force the blessing. Just stay ready and stay faithful and watch what God does next. You've been praying for a breakthrough, expecting God to move and waiting for that moment when everything changes. But let me tell you something, God's breakthroughs don't always come the way you expect. See, we have a habit of putting God in a box. We think he's going to work one way, and when he doesn't, we start doubting. But the truth is, God is not limited by your expectations. He is not confined by your plan. When he moves, it's going to be in a way that surprises you, stretches you, and ultimately blesses you more than you ever imagined. Some of you are waiting for a miracle, but because it's not coming the way you envisioned, you don't even recognize that God is already working. You're looking for the door to open, but God is building a whole new door. You're expecting a simple blessing, but he's setting you up for something that will shift your entire life. What if the thing that looks like a setback is actually the setup for your breakthrough? What if the disappointment was really divine direction? Look at the way God moves throughout history. Time and time again, he doesn't take the expected path. He does the impossible. The children of Israel didn't march into the promised land with ease. They had to walk around Jericho's walls before they fell. David didn't fight Goliath with a sword. He used a slingshot. Jesus healed a blind man by spitting in the dirt and making mud. Nothing about God's process is predictable, but the outcome is always powerful. See, when you trust God, you don't have to understand how he's going to do it. You just have to believe that he will do it. He might not move the way you thought, but he will move in a way that is right. Stop looking for him in the familiar places. Stop expecting him to fit into your logic. Just open your heart, open your faith, and say, God, however you want to bless me, I'm ready. Because when your breakthrough comes, and it is coming, it's not just going to meet your expectations, it's going to exceed them. Stay open, stay ready, because God is about to do something unexpected in your life. You can't expect a breakthrough if you're not ready for it. See, everybody wants the blessing, but not everybody is prepared to receive it. Faith isn't just about believing. It's about positioning yourself for what's coming. When you're expecting something from God, you don't sit back and wait like you're watching the clock. No, you get up, you prepare, and you walk like you already know it's on the way. If you knew God was about to open a door for you, how would you act? Would you wake up with more purpose? Would you move with confidence? Would you start speaking life over your situation instead of doubt? That's what faith looks like. You don't wait until the breakthrough happens to start acting blessed. You start now. Because God isn't just looking at your prayers, He's looking at your preparation. Some of you are asking God for opportunities, but when He looks at you, He doesn't see someone who's ready. You want a promotion, but are you giving your best where you are now? You want a relationship, but have you worked on being the person you're asking for? You want doors to open, but are you positioned to walk through them when they do? See, preparation is a sign of expectation. If you're truly expecting something, you're going to get ready for it. Think about Noah. God told him it was going to rain. Now, Noah had never seen rain before. He had no proof, no sign, just a word from God. But you know what he did? He started building. He didn't wait for the first drop of rain to fall before he picked up his tools. He built the ark before the storm came. That's what faith looks like. You don't wait until you see it. You prepare because you believe it's coming. So, what's your ark? What do you need to start building? What step do you need to take right now to show God that you're serious about your breakthrough? Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop saying, I'll get ready when I see something happening. No, you move first. You prepare first. And when God sees that you're ready, that's when the doors start opening. That's when the breakthrough comes. So don't just pray for it. Prepare for it. Because when your moment comes, you don't want to miss it. Every struggle you've been through, every setback, every disappointment, it wasn't for nothing. See, when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to understand. You wonder, why is this happening to me? Why is it taking so long? But what if I told you that everything you've been through was preparing you for what's coming next? What if the very thing you thought was holding you back was actually setting you up? Look at Joseph. His own brothers betrayed him, threw him into a pit, and sold him into slavery. He went from being his father's favorite to being a servant in a foreign land. Then, just when things started looking better, he was falsely accused and thrown into prison. If anybody had a reason to give up, it was Joseph. But what Joseph didn't know, what he couldn't see at the time, was that every hardship, every unfair situation was pushing him closer to his destiny. Because years later, the very same Joseph who was betrayed, who was forgotten, who suffered, that same man became second in command over all of Egypt. The very people who threw him away had to come back to him for help. See, if Joseph had never been thrown in the pit, he never would have ended up in Egypt. If he had never been falsely accused, he never would have been in the right place to interpret Pharaoh's dream. What looked like a disaster was actually God's design. And the same is true for you. The pain, the struggles, the disappointments, they were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to develop you. You've been wondering why things had to happen the way they did. But God wasn't punishing you. He was positioning you. He was making you stronger, wiser, more prepared for the blessing that's coming. Because when your moment arrives, when the breakthrough finally happens, you're going to look back and realize that every single step was necessary. So don't despise the process. Don't curse the struggle. Instead, start thanking God in advance. Because when you come out of this, and you will come out, you're not just going to be blessed. You're going to be better, stronger, and ready for everything God has in store for you. Expectation is powerful. What you believe about your future shapes how you move, how you think, how you speak. Some people walk around expecting things to stay the same, expecting problems, expecting failure. And guess what? That's exactly what they get. But when you start expecting breakthrough, when you start expecting God to move, things begin to shift. Because expectation isn't just wishful thinking, it's faith in action. You can't pray for a breakthrough and then walk around acting like it's never going to happen. You can't ask God for a blessing and then keep speaking doubt over your life. Faith and fear don't mix. You've got to start talking like your blessing is already on the way. You've got to start moving like you know God is about to open a door. Because when you do that, you activate something in the spiritual realm. See, God responds to expectation. Remember the woman in the Bible with the issue of blood? She had been suffering for 12 years. Doctors couldn't help her. People had given up on her. But she heard that Jesus was passing by. And something inside her said, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. That was expectation. She didn't say, maybe something will happen. She didn't say, I hope I get lucky today. No, she believed it with everything in her. And because of that faith, she got her breakthrough. Some of you are waiting for things to change, but deep down, you don't really believe it's going to happen. You're hoping, but you're not expecting. And there's a difference. Hoping says, I wish it would happen. Expecting says, I know it's on the way. Hope is passive. Expectation moves. Expectation prepares. Expectation sees the miracle before it even shows up. So what are you expecting? Are you expecting God to show up in your life? Are you expecting things to turn around? Are you expecting doors to open? Because if you're not, it's time to shift your mindset. It's time to start waking up every morning saying, God, I know you're working. I know something good is coming. I know my breakthrough is on the way. Because when you believe like that, when you expect like that, God has no choice but to respond. Get ready, because what you've been believing for is closer than you think. When your breakthrough comes, and it will come, don't forget who brought you through. See, too many times, people pray and cry out to God when they're struggling, when they're desperate, when they have nowhere else to turn. But the moment things start going right, the moment the blessing comes, they stop praying. They stop seeking God. They act like they got there on their own. But you've got to remember, it wasn't you, it was him. Look at the story of the 10 lepers. Jesus healed all 10 of them, but only one came back to say thank you. One. The others got their breakthrough and kept moving like they did it on their own. But that one who came back, Jesus didn't just heal him, he made him whole. Because gratitude unlocks even greater blessings. When you honor God, when you recognize that it was his hand on your life, you position yourself for more. See, your breakthrough is bigger than just you. It's a testimony. Somebody else needs to hear what God did in your life. Somebody else is struggling, wondering if things will ever change. And your story might be the thing that gives them hope. When God blesses you, he's not just thinking about you. He's thinking about the people who will be inspired by your victory. So when it happens, when the doors open, when the prayer is answered, don't act like you did it alone. Don't get so caught up in the blessing that you forget the blesser. Stay humble, stay grateful. Tell people what God has done for you. Because when you give him the glory, he will keep pouring out blessings you can't even contain. And if you think this breakthrough is big, just wait. God is only getting started.